Hello, my name's Rob Halligan and this is my album, Always Heading Home. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the songs on the album and tell you the stories behind the songs. You're going to meet some of the people who played on the album and the people that really helped this whole project come together. We started recording this album in October 2019 and we had a plan. The plan was to get the album recorded in over the next 6 months, the following 6 months, and start to tour it in the spring. Had a load of dates ready to do that and everything. But of course, 2020 has happened and nothing for anybody has particularly gone to plan. And so we recorded the bulk of this album over lockdown here in my little home studio, which was a first for me. Call on a lot of favours from friends, include a lot of people that perhaps wouldn't have been involved if I'd just recorded it in the way that I normally do albums. And so it was it's been a really good process for me, and I think this is a really special album. See what you think. We all write the story, we all write the songs. It was kind of in the making for a little while. The chorus was the main thing. The chorus was the start of this song, and I think I started writing it on an open C tune guitar, which for you nerds would be interesting. For everybody else would be kind of. When I actually got around to recording the song, I did the kind of guide tracks and had this idea of a style. Wanted it to sound kind of punchy. And I invited my friend Ewan around, who's a whistle player, who you will meet later on, I think, in other songs. And he kind of played the riff, and then he said, "Look, you know what would fit with this? There's a tune, a Scottish tune called Lexi McCaskill," and so he played that, and it just seemed to fit at the end of the song. Last year, during the We All Write the Songs tour, I got to play again at the Warwick Folk Festival, and while I was there, I was looking around and stumbled into Colin Kendall's guitar tent where he makes guitars and other instruments, and I discovered this. This is a Gazouk, which is a little bit, it's guitar, like a guitar, but it's based on the stringing, and the tuning is based on either a mandolin or a bazooka, and gives it a real nice sort of thing. It wasn't the cheapest festival that I've been to, because I was seduced by this instrument, but it's a lovely instrument. And so I bought this, and then spent the next week up at a place called Scargill House for another festival, where the theme of that festival was welcome and food, which was a great theme. And I thought, I've got to write a song with this instrument just to justify having spent all the money on it. And so Come Take Your Place kind of
take off your pack, set it down as you come through the door. Take your weight off your feet, pull a chair up, enjoy the warmth. As we all share our stories of the places we've all been before. Oh, hey, you're not alone.
Take your place at the table. Yeah, come and let go of your cares. Oh, come break the bread and come raise a glass. Yeah, come for your place is prepared.
Another song that I wrote on the Gazouk was Promised Land. This was the first song I think that we started from scratch in the home studio, recording it at home. And during lockdown, I had a lot of time to think about what I was doing with life, with everything else. Kind of a lot of questions about music and stuff, because suddenly, you know, we weren't able to gig, weren't able to get out there, and you kind of wonder what the point of it is all for. But looking back, it's been an amazing journey. This is my 13th album, and you know, my main thing is that the music that I create kind of makes a difference. And as I, you know, had time to think about stuff, you know, okay, I'm not playing huge venues. I haven't, perhaps, you know, when I started, I thought I was gonna, you know, it'd be a couple of years and I might be playing somewhere big or touring, or somebody might pick up the album, I might be signed, or whatever that meant back then. And it didn't happen, but actually I managed to sort of make something of a living out of this. Over the years, you know, my songs have been people have used my songs for the most amazing things, whether they've had them sung at weddings, at funerals. Somebody's had a tattoo of one of my songs, you know, which is maybe a bit whatever, but I don't know. They obviously mean things to people, and for me, that's an incredible privilege to be able to do that.
To the promised land.
So this was one of the first songs that we recorded in the home studio here, and it was quite a steep learning curve, but I had to kind of pull in help from everywhere, and I managed to get my daughter to help me with the backing vocals on this, and I was really pleased how they came out. And this is just the middle section of the song.
Was the music kept my feet on the road, and the songs that kept my heart full of hope.
So there you go. The way that we've done that is kind of built it up. We've got a little choir there, but I think it's 3 of me and 3 of my daughter, and I love it. I think it sounds lovely.
Was the music kept my feet on the road,
And then we can start to bring back in the other
and the
instruments.
songs that kept my heart full of hope.
That's the piano,
There's a
bit of
love
drums,
that would not let me
keys,
go.
acoustic guitar. And the fiddle.
Sometimes people try to change.
Nothing Good Is Wasted, I wrote at the back end of 2019. It's a song that was the result of coming out of one chapter of life into a new chapter, and where you kind of think, well, what was all that about? What was all that about? What was the point in that, doing all that, if, you know, what's come out of it? And looking at the good stuff and the bad stuff, and thinking, well, none of that, I suppose, none of that is wasted. It's impacted, it's fashioned, it's I suppose it tags on to the kind of, we all write the stories, and where your story goes, the difference you make. In fact, I remember talking to Adrian Plass, and we were sort of swapping ideas, and he was saying, well, nothing at all is wasted, nothing is wasted. And maybe that's where this song should have gone, because there are good stuff and bad stuff, but all of it makes us what we are, and none of it is wasted.
'Cause nothing good is wasted, nothing good is lost, nothing is worth nothing when it's given at a cost.
There's a lot of different guitars on this album that I play, for various reasons, and you can never have too many guitars. One of the guitars that I used quite a lot on this album was this one. This is Zach. Zach is a Moondog Auditorium. Lovely guitar. One of the challenges actually is that when you record an album with a band, then you go out as a solo performer, you have to try and reproduce some of the songs, and songs like We'll Write the Stories is a classic problem, because it's such a big sounding song and you have the tune on it, Lexi McCaskill, that kind of makes it. And so how do you do that and sort of thrash away in my thrash away style that we were doing? So I use this a lot with looping when I'm doing my solo shows. But We'll Write the Stories, this is tuned to Dadgad, which is a nice big sound. It's quite folky, so We'll Write the Stories. Is that kind of chord sequence, and then you have the tune which goes. And that kind of thing. So that's a good fun tuning to play around with. Then I've got then obviously there's a standard tune guitar. This is my Martin guitar. This is called Bartholomew. All my guitars have names. So you've had Zach and you've had Bartholomew there. You've already seen the Gazouk. This is Simone. Now, in the song Promised Land, it had the line, Simone and me, we played the pubs and bars. This is Simone. Simone is a very special guitar for me. This is one of the first guitars I bought when I started doing this properly, when I gave up my real job. And Simone is tuned to open C, or in this case, open C minor, which is a tuning that I picked up from Dougie MacLean, watching a lot of Dougie MacLean, listening to a lot of Dougie MacLean. Other instruments that I play, I've got a little mandolin. This is my little mandolin. So that gets looking sometimes. And then on this next song, Homeward High. Homeward High came about because there's another song a bit later on called Row On. And in the middle of Row On, there was a little bit where I could, I had this opportunity to put a tune in, and so the tune was played on the Gazouk. But then we kind of built it up, and I used this, and this is my Fender Strat that I've had a few years now. It's a nice guitar, and this is called Natasha, and so you'll hear this on Homeward High. next song is called You Never Can Tell. It's slightly biographical about a beautiful woman who was brought up in a good home, good wholesome upbringing, and then a bit of a scallywag who grew up in a place by the sea. There's a few clues about who it might be about. Fiddle on this song is recorded by a great fiddle player called Chris Haigh. And Chris, I've never actually met Chris, but we've kind of met online in this little group that we were both part of called Tuesday Tuesdays, which if you're a folkie and you like to learn tunes, is a great Facebook page to find. And I just put it out there to say any fiddlers available to do some recording over lockdown. Here's, I've got a guide track and it's a couple of tunes. So Chris did this one and he played on Promised Land as well.
Just goes to show that you never can tell. When night is done.
I think lockdown had a huge impact on how this album came out and the songs that are on it. And I was out walking one day and heard these couple of chaps just caught the tail end of their conversation, and one of them said, "I'll see you on the other side." And I just started thinking about that. I think we were in quite a bleak place, and I think a lot of people were just thinking, I can't wait to get through this. I really can't wait to get through this. So the other side, on that walk, the whole song really came together very quickly. And I remember walking up onto the hill near where we live and looking out over the city and seeing this glorious sky. It was a sunset, but that kind of flipped to a kind of this idea of the sunrise and the light piercing the darkness, and stuck in this night, and it really just built from there.
All the days of struggle and reach a place to lay our burden down. I will see you there on the other side. I will see you there on the other side.
It's a bit of it's a funny sort of tradition I have on my albums, where I have all these band songs and then I have one song that I try and do just as stripped back as possible. And I started playing Wayfaring Stranger a couple of years ago. I remember talking to a friend of mine up in Scotland about the song, and thinking I really needed to try and get some kind of arrangement for it. So this was just recorded in one take here at home, and it's recorded on Simone, the open C minor. Wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. There's no sickness, toil, or danger in the bright land where I go. I'm going there to see my Father. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home.
Come, O thou traveller unknown.
So I collect hymn books, song books, and one of the books in my collection is this one. It's called Hymns of Eternal Truth. A collection of hymns by the Wesley brothers, and there is a song in here called "Come, O Thou Traveller Unknown," and it's a story. It's based on the story of when Jacob wrestles with the angel of God and says, "I'm not going to let you go until you bless me." I heard this song years ago sang to a different tune and decided to have a go at putting my own tune to it.
Thyself has called me by my name.
So towards the end of in the instrumental bit of the song and for the outro, there's a reel that is played which remains nameless. But I wasn't really sure how I wanted it to sound, so I sent it to my good friend Chris Hunt, who I've worked with on various projects, including the Psalm project and One Day, the album One Day, recorded in his studio a couple of years ago. And so he recorded the reel in his home studio. I really love the song Row On. I think it's a very special song. It was written in the 1700s and then put to music by Tim Laycock fairly recently. And I first heard it at Warwick Folk Festival, sung by the Xmas Shantymen, in a very different version to what I've done. And I thought this song is this is beautiful lyrics to this song.
Pull on, and homeward high, nor give one look behind. Row on, another day may shine with brighter light.
So again, I was thinking about who to include and who I could draft in, and it has Ewan Cameron playing some whistle on this, and my daughter Nikita singing with me as well. But I contacted my mate Pete Banks, who I've sang with in After the Fire for a number of years now. Pete's a really good friend, and I was thinking, I knew that Pete had this little pedal harmonium, and I thought that would be nice, but he actually used a pump one, a hand pump harmonium. You kind of do that kind of thing. And it was wonderful. And he put some vocals on it. And in fact, at one point, when I put his vocal on the track, it didn't line up properly. And he comes in before everybody else, going row on, and it fit. And so I left it as it was, and so the last chorus, you've got this kind of out of line row on and ply to yours.
Row on, another day may shine with brighter light. Ply the oars and pull away. There's no beyond the night.
Always Heading Home, I wrote last year, and straight away I knew it was going to be the title song for whatever album will come out of that. It's very interesting how it's all come together. I wrote it after a dear friend who was very old. He died, and it was one of those things, you know, like it says, we knew it was coming, but it kind of caught us unaware. So often things in life are like that. There are inevitable things that are going to happen, but we are often caught off guard, and things shock us. Life is messy, but it's a journey, and it's you know, I'm a scratch record. I talk about the journey of life so often, but it's like that, and there are treasures on the way as well as sort of tough bits, and I think that's what this is all about. And for me, if you can connect with that, for me, if whoever's listening to this album can connect with some of those treasures, and realise that, you know, this is a journey. At the end of this journey, there is an incredible prize. There is hope. Then you know, the songs have done their job.
Has always done. We carry on along that way, always heading